Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about foundation model fine-tuning. Now, fine-tuning is quite a technical process. We don't need to know the technical details, but we do need to know the methods that exist for fine-tuning. And the first one is domain-specific fine-tuning. So here we would take a foundation model and give it domain-specific knowledge. For example, if we're training a foundation model to be a legal assistant, we would give it lots and lots of legal documents. Now, we can give it these documents to it in as labeled data or unlabeled data. Unlabeled data would be just thousands and thousands of legal documents, and labeled data would be legal documents or paragraphs somehow labeled that would be relevant to our specific use case. And as a result, this foundation model would understand the legal language so much better. It would be able to navigate past cases in law. It would be able to advise on certain things. And that can be a very useful tool. And keep in mind, this is different to continuous pre-training, which we discussed previously in the course. Continuous pre-training broadens a model's knowledge with updated information. Domain-specific fine-tuning and narrows a model to target, to hone in laser and be laser specific about a certain field. The next method is instruction-based fine-tuning. Here we have a foundation model and we give it examples of instructions of how we want it to operate. So we're not expanding its knowledge per se or narrowing its knowledge per se. We're giving it specific instructions so it can better use the knowledge it already has. So for example, if we're creating a customer chatbot, we would give it examples such as this, like a question, can I return this item? And that would be associated with an instruction of what we want it to do. We want it to provide return policy details clearly and politely with an offer to assist further. Another option you could do, another way you could tackle this is, instead of giving it an instruction, you could give it an example of what you want to respond. So here would be the question is, can I return this item? And the example, it's also a way of instruction tuning, is yes, you can return the item within 30 days of purchase. Let me know if you need any help with the return process. And by giving it lots and lots of these questions and instructions, or questions and examples, we thereby effectively give it instructions on how to best answer queries in the future. And as you can imagine, here you have to use labeled data, because the label or the instruction itself is the label, or the example is the label. And keep in mind, for the exam, it's important to know which method requires which kind of data, label or unlabeled. You can get questions on that. Okay, and the third method is called reinforcement learning with human feedback. It's quite a sophisticated method, but we don't need to know all the details. What we do need to know is we have a foundation model, and then it would be given lots and lots of prompts, typical prompts that it would normally get from users, and then it would provide responses, and then a whole team of humans would be hired to sit down and to grade those responses, like on a scale from 0 to 10, or yes, no, or provide comments on those responses and things like that. And through those comments, the model would be fine-tuned to better answer properly how humans would expect it to answer. So those are the three methods of fine-tuning. Keep in mind that another thing that you should know for the exam, that there's a term called transfer learning. If you see that on an exam in AWS documentation at this level of this exam, when speaking about foundation models, fine-tuning and transfer learning are used interchangeably. So you don't be worried if you see that term. It's just basically another way of saying fine-tuning, again, at this level of technical depth. Here's a quick summary of what we discussed. I look forward to seeing you back here next time. And until then, enjoy the cloud.